Okay, our next topic is the interview itself. And most of our listeners are not professional interviewers, so I think this will be a very helpful topic for them. So right out of the gate, I want to ask you, Cliff, are there any mistakes or eliminators that a person can avoid in an interview?
I think probably two areas stick out to me with this, Mark, at least with two things that cause me the most concern with candidates. And the first is people being too talkative. When an interviewer asks you a question, you want to try to answer it as pointed as you can, and then move on to the next question. I've had candidates that have taken 20 minutes to answer one question, and next thing you know, we're out of time. Or they've talked themselves out of an interview. They think they're going to be proactive in answering questions that I'm going to ask, and they actually end up telling me spending 10 or 15 minutes on a subject that I don't even want to focus on. So I think over talking, or would that be the right way to put it, over talking within an interview is a problem. And then negativity, and not just about their previous employer, just negativity in general. We want people that are going to come into our workforce and be part of our team that's going to be a positive influence. And if they're coming into the interview with whether it's a chip on their shoulder or negativity about how they were treated or coworkers or previous coworkers, it's indicative as to how they're going to be when they join our team.
Okay, good. What are good questions for candidates to ask?
I think questions about the group direction, the position direction, the history on the role, and how the manager or how the team member sees that position interacting with either their role or their function. Having just well thought out questions, I think, period. There's a lot of times people will come to us or come to me or interview team members with, I think, very basic and general questions that could have answered with a little bit of research on the company website.
Mm-hmm. What are bad questions?
I think some of those simple questions, size of company, structure, things that they with a little bit of effort they would have found the answers to. Whereas if they would have come and said, "Hey, I see that you're trending this way. Your stock price is doing this. I've seen these reports out on the news." It shows me that they've done a little bit of homework. They've spent some time researching and digging.
Sometimes a candidate will send a resume for position A when they're not interested in the position, hoping that they get in for an interview and discuss other opportunities within the company. If a candidate does not match up with the position they're interviewing for, will you be able to consider them for a different role?
Absolutely. I can think of lots of examples where I've received a resume based on one position, and I've called the person and said, "Hey, you applied for this position, but you're really a better fit for this role. Or we have a position coming down the road that maybe you could be considered for, and when it gets open, we'd like to have you apply and be considered there." Numerous times. And I think a lot of the corporate recruiters that I've worked with, they're thinking with that open mind as opposed to looking at individuals for just a singular opening.
Okay. Well, what if the person gets called in for an interview for the position and they're not even interested in it, but they just want to come in and interview with your company with the opportunity to look at other positions within the organization? I mean, is that appropriate to do that in an interview, to ask about another position that may be available in the company?
No, I wouldn't encourage that. I mean, I think that's walking into something probably a little misleading. I'd hope that they'd say on the front end before coming in, "Hey, I don't think this position's for me." I mean, just to come in to interview with a team to hope to get into a different area, I mean, essentially you're going to be wasting the interview team's time. I can't think of a time where that's played out, but I can't see a scenario where that would help a candidate.
Okay, good. Anything else for me on this topic?
I think when interviewing and coming in prepared with well thought out questions and approaching an interview with concise and clear answers, those individuals are going to excel.